What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is A2D Wednesday nights, talking deadline for the Phillies and Major League Baseball, but NLCS rematch coming to Citizens Bank Park. We're going to talk about it. Giddy up.
I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio every Wednesday. We are brought to you by our good friends over at Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Go check them out. Use promo code A2D. Get 10% off your in-store order. I hate to open a show with this, but the Celtics, NBA champions. Oh, I don't. We're going to talk about it at the end of the show. Maybe the easiest road there. You want to talk about a straight line? You want to talk about no zigzags? And that was the easiest path to a destination I probably have seen. We'll talk about it. Phillies trade deadline. What's the priorities? Who are we looking at? We'll discuss. NLCS. It's been like 2 weeks.
You want to start this thing over, buddy?
Time out.
We recorded. That's a restart. Restart
do it
our
live.
record game. NLCS rematch coming to Citizens Bank Park. Diamondbacks coming to town. Ties into our poll question. We'll also talk Phillies, Padres, and everything coming up for the Phillies. Like we said, deadline priorities. We got it all in store for you. Our poll for tonight. This weekend series against the Arizona Diamondbacks is a chance for the Phillies to finally put their NLCS nightmares to bed. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcast, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow, join the conversation. Yes, I said it. Back on Facebook. It should never happen. But we love you all for jumping in and doing everything you feel like you could to help us out. We appreciate it. Disagree to the poll completely. Couldn't disagree with a poll more in my life on A2D Radio, essentially. Like, I don't know if there's a poll I disagree more to. Like, it doesn't put it to bed. It doesn't put it to bed. What puts it to bed is getting to a World Series next year or this year. That's what puts it to bed. It don't put it to bed. Like, okay, they feel good walking around for a little bit, I guess you could say. They'll feel good walking around money. But I don't know. I don't know, guys. I just disagree with, like, you collapsing the NLCS at home, too. Like, you don't get rid of that and put it behind you because you beat them in game whatever of the regular season. Like, no, you want to go beat everybody you're playing. Do you have if the question was like, are they going to have a little bit more between their legs coming in this one? Absolutely, there's going to be a little bit more juice flowing. Of course they want to take care of them, of course, as competitors. But does it put the nightmares to bed? Are you kidding me? The nightmares? I'll be up until they get through an NLCS this year. What are we talking about? Nightmares. I'm freaking stressing over here. And we're talking about the nightmares get them put them together in a 3-game set, and one's on Apple TV. Come on, what are we talking
Don't
about?
forget the Roku one at 11:30 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
What a joke. I mean, no nightmares are getting put to bed over game whatever in the regular season. Do the players feel better? Absolutely. But as fans, ain't no nightmare to bed. Yeah, you give me the World Series next year, you cut nets down, and all 5 of us are partying on Broad Street. Then, yeah, I don't even remember that series. That series, like, did that happen? I didn't even remember it, right? You don't even remember. You don't remember any failures leading up to 08. You remember 08. Makes sense? You remember 08. You don't remember, do you remember failures after that because you didn't win again? Yes. But if they mix in another one in there somewhere, like another one, then you're forgetting about it. We've been to a World Series. We collapsed. We came out at arguably the hottest team in baseball. So, like, I think they put their nightmares to bed as players for sure. Those nightmares are to bed. They're on to the next now because they're deep into it, right? They're in today, well, tomorrow. So, but us as fans, no, disagree. Great poll question, though. You know, get you to go a little jazzed up at 10:09 start on a Wednesday. Here we are.
Well, it's funny because I'm gonna disagree, but you kind of took my thunder a little bit because the way I was looking at it was when this team was the first team to 40 wins, that NLCS was as far in the rearview mirror as it could possibly get for these guys. Like you said, Tom, they're on to the next one. You know, we've talked about how business-like this team is, and it's very clear that, you know, there is a bad taste in their mouth from last year. They feel like they didn't get the job done, but they washed it and they came back to work. I think the fans are more stuck on this series than the players are for sure.
Yeah. No, we are. We're going to be into it more. But like the nightmare part, like I'm good on the nightmare. I'm not scared. I'm not sleeping anyway. So yeah, I'm not scared. I'm not sleeping. The Diamondbacks aren't even feel like they're as good as they were last year right now.
No, they're definitely a tough one, yeah.
So
not even close.
It doesn't have the same, if they were even 2 in the NL West, I could be like, all right, a little juice into this one. Apple TV and Roku are like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Damn, this is
we
not
thought we were
working
getting
out
a good series.
Yeah, this is not working out the way I was hoping.
Apple TV's like, we got an NLCS rematch and on Cole Hamels' retirement night. That's the game we want.
With the worst bobblehead of all time. Did you guys see that? By the way,
it was a bad bobblehead.
It doesn't even look like Cole Hamels. Not that all bobbleheads look like him, but this doesn't even come close.
Bro, I got a bobblehead that looks like me though. That I got for being a groomsman. I was a groomsman in my boy Steve Shaw's wedding, and he got us all bobbleheads. I would never buy a
That's
bobblehead.
spectacular.
That's an epic
Just
gift.
to confirm, I would never purchase a bobblehead of me. But when it's given, I will be like, all right, that's cool, bro. That's going. Me a little bit. You can't get Cole Apples or having nobody.
It's bad. I'll see if I can find a photo and send it to you.
All right, Tommy, I got questions now, though. Because, it's an absolute violation to get a jersey with your own last name on the back. We all know this.
Yep.
You can't buy a Phillies jersey and put your own last name on it or whatever. Are you allowed to display your own bobblehead, or does that just stay on the back of the shelf?
I think if it's confirmed on why you're showing it like that, hey, I didn't purchase my own bobble. If you purchase your own bobblehead and you're just willing to show it, all right, bro. I feel like you're driving a way too big of a truck too. There's some things going on that I'm not gonna get into it right on a Wednesday night. But to get it given, you're like, all right.
It's a good looking bobblehead.
Yeah, I was part of me wanted to turn it down, Steve, listen, keep the bobblehead for yourself to remind you. That reminds you what I did for you. What I did for you on this big day. Let me remind you. But no, there's violations to your own bobblehead for sure. That might be worse than your name on the jersey. That means you like yourself a lot.
So this bobblehead you got, is your buddy still married?
I don't know if I want to answer that on air, but no, he's not. He's not.
Well,
he's not.
Hey, when
you need to do a show.
You might be getting another bobblehead soon, buddy.
No, seriously, you need to do a show as the bobblehead. Zoom the camera in on the bobblehead, and you can just be off to the side on the microphone.
Just do the voiceover.
Just talking. Yep. Talking for the bobblehead. Oh my goodness. But no, that's a huge violation back when we used to talk violations a lot too. That's a big one. That's epic. That's epic. If you're just walking around 5 in your house. You know what I mean?
Of yourself.
Yeah, it's almost like if you have too many pictures of your kid too. What is this? A memorial? What is this? A shrine? What are we doing here? Why do we have 2,000 of them? We get it. You want to see? I think there's overkill of the pictures. I think there's a lot of violations in life. You need a good amount. You don't want to spray you know what I mean? You don't want to ruin your house. You can get other pieces of artwork. You know what I mean?
It would be solid, but not over the top.
Yeah. We want a presence. It's my freaking kid. I want a presence, but I don't need what are you? Whoa! Hey, imagine you walk in his own sports room, and it's your whole room in your house. It's your dining room. What are you turning your dining room into a memorabilia area?
Into a shrine?
Hey, what is that? Baseball cards? Are you gonna give me out baseball cards?
Oh, we're off the rails already.
Yeah. We could do a whole show on dryer sheet parents in sports. We could do a whole how big is the big bounce ones that you throw in when you get the big load.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're talking about throwing like 10 of them in. Oh my God. Like listen, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough out there. That's all. That's it.
I'm crying already. Oh my
yeah,
God.
me too. I'm trying. There's so
Good to
much
be
stuff.
back. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
And we're back.
It's good to be back on Facebook too. It's good to be. We're here. All right. So where were we? Where were we?
We both disagreed.
Yeah,
On to the
Diamondbacks.
Right.
Yeah, I'll agree, but just from the player standpoint, because I absolutely agree with you guys from a fan standpoint. But I think the play, especially the way the Phillies are kind of scuffling right now. It was a long road trip. It kind of got boned by the schedule, right? We probably should have had a Monday off there after the Boston series, right? You know what I mean? And so the players are scuffling, right? You saw the bats again today. Waldron and the knuckleball was dancing today. The bats didn't show up. So, from the player standpoint, I feel like they want to be locked in. They need to start going because the next couple of series are tough, right? I think we got the Brewers again. Detroit's playing feisty. And then, of course, I think in 2 weeks right before the break comes the Dodgers. So I agree from the player standpoint, but from, as you guys both mentioned from the fan standpoint, until we're back in red October and hoist something above our heads as a collective, as a city, there's no getting over what happened last year.
No. Yep. I was hoping you went that way. I didn't want to do this. You know what I mean? I was hoping.
I'm really banking on this series.
It's going to tell me a lot.
Meanwhile, we got an Apple TV game and a Roku 11:30 game. Like, I want to wake up early for that Roku game.
It's ridiculous. So ridiculous. I'll disagree too. I'll kind of for the same reason, but I'll also say this isn't about the Diamondbacks. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I look back at last season and what happened, I kind of look at how the Phillies fell off more so than they lost to the Diamondbacks. I kind of forget that they even did lose to the Diamondbacks. So my perspective of the whole thing is they've built a team to go the whole way. Now, obviously, they did lose to the Diamondbacks last series. It's an easy way for the league to market it, the team to market it, to get everyone to watch it. Totally understand that. That's all well and good. At the end of the day, I'm not losing any sleep over the Diamondbacks. I view them as just the comments. One of the comments said they're a sub 500 team. They've been beating them at home all year round. I think this is like the fourth game in the last 35 home games that they've lost, which is ridiculous. So I expect them to go handle business as per usual and, screw the Diamondbacks. Totally forget we even lost to them.
Oh, I don't forget.
Well, I didn't forget we lost.
Yeah,
I feel like I forget. Oh shit, it was the Diamondbacks, right? Like that's what went through my head.
Luke, I think you make a great point because, legitimately, it could just be insert team name here.
Right.
You don't even. It's sometimes you don't even remember who they lost to. You just remember that they lost. And
you just remember that they struck out like
couldn't touch a pitch.
Yeah, I just remember they couldn't hit a baseball. You want to talk about feeble and overswinging and trying to do too much and the definition of all that when you talk about hitting, right? That's what the Philadelphia Phillies did in the NLCS. It was a total collapse at the plate because now when the pressure starts right really boiling in that water and it really starts popping, man, you guys press, right? And they think okay, I'm gonna hit one out and we're gonna get out of this. So everybody tries to do too much and it's simple. And the crowd, the crowd takes a part in that because there's so much energy in the park, right? So you feel it, they feel it. I'm not saying it's acceptable. I'm just saying that's that's what happened. Go ahead. No, sorry.
No, you're good. To your point, Tommy. Look, when the ball stops flying out of the yard, this team has shown time and time again that they have trouble manufacturing runs. Now, at times they've done a little better job of that this year. All right, thus our great start to the season. But over the last couple of weeks here, we're scuffling a little bit. We didn't look too good in Boston, and we sure as hell got knocked around in Baltimore. So, I mean, yeah, we took 2 out of 3 from San Diego. That's nice, but it's time to get going back in the right direction here. As far as this series with the D-backs, just win the fucking series. The D-backs are not what they were last year, obviously, and I see no reason they're a shell of themselves. They caught fire last year. They caught lightning in a bottle. And to be honest, we beat ourselves. I mean, we beat ourselves by swinging at pitches 10 feet over our head or 10 feet outside, not moving runners over. That's what killed us. I mean, more so than the Diamondbacks beating us. I wholeheartedly disagree to the poll. This series, it's another series on the schedule. I mean, we just need to put ourselves in position to maintain our lead over Atlanta, win the division, and let's go. It's go time. There's no excuses.
No, there's no excuses at all. But yeah,
we got to manufacture runs. So
I think you can factor in like that. That trip to London and just like the time change and different things like that, and you sort of contributed to like the Boston. Bless you. The Boston series, and obviously, tying into that Baltimore one as well. It's just, difficult being out and about like that, being over across the pond, coming back. Like, it's just a lot goes into that. So I'll chalk that up. So I almost didn't even think they were playing again when they came back. And I was down in Baltimore, and I just felt like they weren't. The Phillies playing? No. You know what I mean? Like, they're not playing. So that's how I chalk it up to that.
Yeah, and the other thing too with the series upcoming too, and something we've talked about a lot with Arizona is we traditionally don't play Arizona very well, either here or on the road. We usually struggle with Arizona, just for whatever reason, even when they're a bad team, kind of like they are right now, limping in. But we usually struggle with Arizona, so this kind of, we'll see how it is. I see we're obviously the better team, right? But we'll see what happens because we generally struggle with Arizona.
Well, we always have, but really more, Greg, I would say really more there than here, right? Like I would say, we've struggled with them, but more in their building. Now, I say that, and you just put up, hey, Tom, did you miss a few games at home, the end of the year? So, listen, we have no excuses not to take 2 or 3 against Arizona. I mean, we are I think we're the best home record in baseball.
24-11, I think. 29-11 at home.
29-11. I got to check and see where that shakes out to, but I'm pretty sure it's like close, if not the best home record in baseball.
Yeah, but when you think about it, it's crazy because they lost those 2 games to the Braves to start the season. They lost that series, and they had a few home games there too. So recently, they've been borderline unbeatable at home.
It's the most wins, but not the lowest losses. New York is 23-10 at home. Cleveland Guardians 22-9 at home. Seattle 27-12 at home. Milwaukee 22-12. Braves 24-13. So yeah, I mean you're right up there, right? But notice obviously all of those teams either leading or second place in their divisions, because they're taking care of stuff at home.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean they're 4-6 in their last 10. Like we talked about, not a big deal here. Not a big deal. Like to Noah's point, like you just can't scuffle for a while. Like you scuffle for like 3 weeks, then you're a little worried.
Yeah.
I just had to laugh at Noah's timing. Like he's talking about not manufacturing runs, and they win the game last night. Single, double.
From Cassie too, right? Another lightning.
I said right? in general, Mike. When we struggle, I
know. It was just funny, Noah. Just the irony of it.
No, I hear you. Oh, I know. But how many times have you seen us not be able to move a runner over, or we have a man on second and third with 1 out, and we don't get them in? It's that little stuff that I would like to see done on more of a consistent basis. But hey, all in all, what the fuck? We're 8 games over the Braves, guys. We can't complain too much.
No, I mean we're one of the best teams in baseball. So, right, the Yankees are the only ones with more wins than us. So
Yeah, I was going to say, if I'm not mistaken, we're still like the second best team in baseball. So
662 winning percentage. Yankees have 680.
Yep.
So I mean, when you circle the board, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
We can lose. We can go 4-6 in our last 10. We have the luxury to do that. Actually, a couple times over. Like you could do that for like 3 or 4 weeks, and you're like, all right, well, there's still 5 games up on the Braves. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think they're fine. I think getting Turner back's definitely a big help to this lineup, especially without JT. I thought Marchand sort of has played well in the absence. So at least it's just like next man up. They have that sort of mentality all year. And when teams usually have that, good things happen. Good things happen for sure. So what do you guys everybody disagrees, right?
How about Ranger? Yet another quality start, even if it was a losing effort today.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly what we wanted. Exactly what we were looking for. So what are your guys' top priorities? And obviously when everybody in the chat comment in and let us know. What are your top priorities moving forward towards the trade deadline? What are you guys looking at? What do you want?
I think this weekend and today specifically showed, for me right now, it's outfield. I think you got to upgrade the outfield. I don't hate a platoon in one spot, but we can't be platooning 2 of our outfield spots, especially when, our mainstay, the guy that somehow never gets a day off, is hitting around the Mendoza line as well. Right. It's one thing if Nicky's in that first half mode where he's carrying us like last year. Right. But he's scuffling himself. So whether that's Lou Bob, if that's Kyle Tucker, you know what I mean? I know it's kind of what you guys were chatting through last week. I'm sorry. I think outfield's got to be the top priority. What the Phillies are, kind of like what the Eagles are with the offensive linemen. They're going to look pitching. But to me, I think outfield has to be a priority.
Totally agree. I mean, with Castellanos, you have no idea what you're getting. You could have 3 weeks of great baseball followed by 2 months of nothing from him. You just don't know. And Marsh has looked great at times, and at other times he's looked like a so-so major leaguer. And you're getting virtually nothing at the plate from Pache, and Rojas they sent down. Yeah, I'd say outfield's a big concern. They're not getting nearly enough offensive production there.
So I have a new name for you guys. I know because we talked about Lou Bob. I think we talked about Randy Arozarena. We talked about Kyle Tucker. If the Cubs just continue to go down the toilet, do you call them about Cody Bellinger?
100%.
I mean, you got to pay him a ton of money for the rest of this year, but he's got a $2.5 million buyout at the end of the year that you can very easily handle. And I don't think Dombrowski worries about money when there's a buyout in play.
Yeah, I wanted them to go after him hard in the offseason, especially when he kept lingering, right? Especially when he kept staying there. Like, let's go. Like, I loved Rojas and still do, but you could get a guy like Bellinger and put him in there. Now, the only sticking point to that is, again, another lefty to your lineup, right? So, again, you continue to push that envelope, but for a guy, I mean, he hits everybody anyway, so adding him to the lineup would be the same as adding like a Kyle Tucker, right? That guy's never sitting anyway. So
right. And then the other name I wanted to throw at you guys, and this might be a bit of a longer shot, only because I don't know that they would trade within the division, but could you put something together with Washington for Lane Thomas? There's your right-handed back, Greg.
I like that too.
I do like me some that. I do like me some Arozarena too.
Yeah.
Because then I can play Marsh every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big reason why because if you get Bellinger, I had no problem with Bellinger either. Let me make that clear. But if you get Bellinger, then Marsh, then you're playing Pache anyway.
Right.
So you're still doing the same thing. But Arozarena, now I can leave Marsh in the lineup. I got that righty. Right, he's starting to swing it a little bit better now. 2 homers in his last 5 games.
And you could probably get a Arozarena for a little cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely cheaper. Like they're not looking for somebody that can play tomorrow either, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking for some things that would be projects, whatever. They'll get back wherever they can. But he's starting to swing it. I mean, he's got 10 homers now, so he's working his way up there. But it just gives you some more right-handed pop in your lineup, and a guy that seems to swing it well on the big stage, which I think is important, right? Like, big stage, he's going to swing it. I feel like he's going to hurt somebody. Like, I feel like he loses a baseball in the NLCS last year, or it's a big double or something to maybe get us going a little bit, right? So I look at it like that too with him. But I mean, there's good names out there outfield wise that are probably available. Like you said, if the Cubs fall out of it, Mike, then obviously that's easy. It's just hard with the extra wild card, right? Because more teams stay in it. So you must have to really go to teams that are like, they're treading water.
No, Tommy, that's a great point, because it's like over the last, 8-10 years, I mean, they've added that extra wild card, and then they've also moved the trade deadline up. So now it becomes real hard, because you have to look at a team that's either already out of it, trending poorly, or has been in fire sale mode from, basically the beginning of the season. And how many of those teams actually have a guy that you want?
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. It becomes so much more difficult.
Yeah, it becomes really hard because you don't have as much to choose from. So you have to go to the small market that's out of it, right? You really want to go see the small market that's out of it. Hey, you guys are done. Hey, Tampa, come on. Let's just roll him out here at this point. But either way, it's harder. It's just harder than it was in years past.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to have the team that's looking to sell. They might be close. They might feel the fan base might feel like they're in it, but they're really not in it. And they're looking to move on from a piece. You're always going to have those types of teams. But,
we know that all too well.
Yeah, we do. But the thing is, you can't bring on any big money either. Like I mean, they can do whatever the heck they want to do, obviously, right? Stupid money. But I don't think they're trying to bring on more big money. So I think like an Arozarena, which I don't know what his deal is, but I'm sure it's not as much as Bellinger's.
It can't be much.
If I have to guess, or Tucker's. So, something to think about there too.
Yeah, the thing with Tucker too is you're gonna have to pay him, right? You're not taking on the money yet. It's the future money with Tucker, and that's why he's potentially on the outs in Houston. It's because they don't want to pay him for some reason. I don't get why, but
yeah, I mean, either way, they see him every day, so
Yeah, Lane Thomas though is another good name that you're right, Mike. I like that name. He's only 28 years old. I would really like that.
Well,
guy
he kills us.
Yeah, he just seems to flat out rake against us.
Yeah, it kills us. We know how that works too, Mike. Like, the guy wore us out. Guy wore us out for 8 years. We go get him, and now he doesn't hit.
He turns into a 240 hitter.
Yeah, who is this? What? Same thing would happen with Arozarena. He would go 0 for 20 in a series. Like, oh, thanks, buddy.
Al Horford.
Yep. It's the Phillies version of Al Horford. Yep, correct.
Al Horford, I heard this from a guy who was part of the Sixers organization that said Al Horford forgot how to shoot with his proper form when he got here. I'm like, the Ben Simmons effect is real. That effect is real. Guy just forgot how to shoot.
Fultz.
Yeah, Fultz is whole shoulder doesn't work anymore. Because what are you talking about? What is this syndrome? A brand new syndrome. Just made it. We just
he got into a fake motorcycle accident. That's what
patient zero. Patient zero. Patient zero. Markel Fultz. What?
And Kelly Oubre all of a sudden can't drive. It's what are we doing?
Can't drive a bicycle now.
Yeah.
Get off the bicycle, Kelly. I mean, get off the bicycle, man. You got a lot of money. You can bicycle around. Come on, you can
Hey,
bicycle.
call an Uber.
Seriously, like that's the call to Uber. It's almost like driving drunk. Like, would you stop it, guys? Like, you got a lot of money. Go to Uber.
Get JT an Uber while we're at it.
Get who an Uber?
JT.
What does he need an Uber for?
Not
Not real Muto.
not real Muto.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I'm not fluent on that situation. So, my bad.
I don't know. I don't understand how he just didn't buy the hotel, like that. The first hotel he saw. Just I'm gonna buy that and stay there tonight. But no,
Right.
you're gonna drive drunk.
So Ethan says, "What did you guys? And Noah, Luke, what are you guys looking for?"
Definitely outfield. I don't understand I kind of understand it because it always seems like the right thing to do to want a closer, but it kind of feels like it's never the right thing to do to make a big move and say, this guy is going to be my bottom 9 closer every single day. Feels like that move almost never works in terms of a trade deadline move. And I also don't think that guy exists. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll leave it to you guys, the baseball guys, but I don't think he exists out there to give up a lot for some big time closer. I think maybe if you add another arm in the bullpen, it could never hurt. They always value that. But at the end of the day, outfield is a huge deal. And I was waiting for an opportunity to bring this up. I was very locked into this series. I watched all 3 games, start to finish, very locked in. It seems like there were 2 plays that I'm not sure he would have made, but he probably could have made. And that's Rojas. And I understand why he sent him down. I was hyped about it at the time. But now I'm kind of rethinking it to say, yes, he's kind of like an automatic out, it seems, every time he goes up. But I'm starting to see his value, kind of like one of those things where, you don't realize what you have until he leaves kind of thing. Yeah, so here we are. I'm just curious of your guys' perspective on calling him immediately back up, or do you wait, or is this a trade deadline move where you let him sit down there and it revolves on who you bring in?
Why? What happened? What did I miss?
They won the first
about
game.
The Marsh catch today,
yes,
right?
Well, that one's from today, and the other game, it was either the second or the first game. I'm not really remembering. One of the early innings, they ended up obviously winning the game. It was a home run, Pache. Oh, it was definitely the first game, right over the fence that he mistimed completely. He had no shot at it. I thought that Rojas, I've seen him make a play like that before.
Yeah,
So
and the ball today was like a sinking, bases loaded, 2 outs, sinking liner.
Yeah.
Marshy went for it, didn't get it. Ball gets behind him. It's a bases clearing triple that broke the game open.
Yeah.
I mean, the Phillies were already losing at that point. I think it was 3-1 at that point.
Yes.
No, it was only 2-1 because the 3 runs made it to 5.
Yes.
So, yeah, he went for it, didn't get it, and I didn't see the other one the other day. I was traveling that day.
So I saw the home run that you're talking about, Luke. I think it's iffy. I don't know that Pache mistimed it as much as he just couldn't get up high enough. Because I mean, the ball was probably 3 feet over the wall. Rojas might make the play. I just don't know that. I don't know that you can judge it on a play that difficult. Your point is absolutely valid. I just think that particular play, the home run, when you're going up, you're going full speed to the wall, and then you got to basically jump and go up and try to bring the ball back. It's a tough one. To your point about the closer, though, I think there's one out there, and he's not worth the asking price. And I think we all know who we're talking about.
Mr. Miller.
Yep. Yeah, you can't.
You're right. He's the only one.
Yeah, you can't give up a top 5 prospect for a closer. You just can't.
No.
Well, here's another bullpen
Or the
arm, maybe
package,
not necessarily
of prospects, right? And you're right. It's going to start with Abel or Crawford, right?
Yeah.
Well,
What would it take? What would it take to get Aroldis Chapman here? I mean, I know he's having a so-so kind of year. His ERA is just below 4. And
You want
he could be a bit of
A wheelchair?
You want another wild lefty to this bullpen? Don't we have enough?
I mean, if you need another,
just wants
if you need
bullets,
another
baby.
arm in the
Give him bullets.
fire away, baby. I mean, if you really want to try to bring an arm in here and not have to give up much for it, I mean, the Pirates are all but out of contention, right?
But there's so many other arms than that per se.
I
You
like
know what
your
I mean?
Pirates,
Right.
but give me Bednard instead. I don't think they give him up, right? But that's the other arm.
Right.
I think we're overreacting to this entire thing of the bullpen side of things.
I agree.
Like our bullpen set up unless somebody gets hurt, right?
Well,
Right.
Tommy, let me ask you this though, because I think I think you make a solid point, but it's in a situation where, you know, maybe we're a little more okay with the closer combination of Alvarado and Hoffman than we think we are. But could we use another arm another arm down there?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean,
no, we
I'm
can
not
always use
saying
another arm.
bring in a closer, but
No, I don't think a closer. Like I would more say like, hey,
Yeah.
could we use another guy for the 7th inning? Could we use another guy in situations?
Right.
Yeah, I think that could be like anybody. Like my
Right.
point to Noah was like, it doesn't be Chapman. There's a million guys out there with a sub 4 to throw 98. Like there's that can't spot their fastball at times
Right.
and won't throw strikes and then get hit. Like there's a million guys out there. So yeah, I do think that's something like that they're going to address in some way. I just wouldn't expect like the Miller or another
Right.
big time arm out of the pen. Like if they make moves to this ball club, they're like an Arozarena. I'm just going to use like, you know, maybe like a Chapman type, like guys that are like at the back end, right? That are whatever,
Yeah.
but it's all going to be cheaper guys. That's all. Like, it's going to be cheaper guys. They're looking for like little stuff. Now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they go out and they feel like they need a center fielder that bad, and they're willing to overpay for it, right? Fine, but that depends on how long they think they're away from Crawford. You know, that comes down to that too, right? I mean, I know they're going to be losing Nick, you know, in the next year after next year, but I mean, how far are they away from Crawford? That's the other question, and I think that if they give Marshy the time to play out there consistently, I think he's going to be good enough. So I'm not even worried about like plays he didn't get to, because in reality, he just started playing out there again. They're playing him a lot and left mostly. So it's just a different read. But Rojas is like athleticism and ability to track balls and get to them, even if he misjudges them at times, is elite. But he didn't play in elite center field this year. That's the difference. Yep. He did not. If you watch the games, there was no, that's why he's up here. Yeah, there were some great catches and some things, but there was a lot of balls throughout this year that were like, dude, you ever run that? Like, are you like too fast to play the outfield? Like, what's going on? You know, like there were some things where you're like, and I get it when you say, 162, it's long. But when you bat 220, then you better pick everything. Because I always tell my kids, you better be elite at something to play at that level. You better be elite at one of the two.
Yeah, you could deal with this.
Sent them.
Go ahead, Noah. Sorry.
Go ahead. All right. No, what I was going to say real quick, part of why they sent him down, I mean, granted, he hasn't played a perfect center field, but I think they've been really a little disappointed with the way with his approach at the plate. I think they want he's swinging out of his shoes. They want him to hit more line drives, concentrate more on hitting the ball on the ground, learning how to bunt, and more or less learn how to play small ball, learning how to leg out a single. And they want him to focus on hitting line drives and hitting the ball on the ground.
I think that's completely accurate. I think you're 100% spot on. But Tommy, I'm going to go back to your point real quick. I actually think part of them sending him down is, hey, like, this is a ball club with World Series aspirations, and your elite center field defense last year is not elite this year. You need to go down there and find it again. And you'll be back up when you can play an elite center field. But until you do, I don't think it's just offense that got him sent down. I think he needs a mental reset down there.
And sometimes you just can't.
I mean,
like real quick, sometimes you just
different
can't
position, but it worked for Alvarado a few years ago.
Yeah, but he's not Alvarado, right? Like the fact of the matter is with him is that like some guys will just never hit. Like he's not going to hit. I don't care how much he bulks up in the summer. Like I don't give a crap about any of that.
Right.
Some guys just will never hit. But it does. But like Mike said, and like we talked about, he got sent down because of his defense. Because that's what they were expecting to be elite. They knew what they were. Yeah, they knew what they were getting in bed with offensively. Yep. Come on, they didn't expect this big drastic jump offensively because he's never really done that. But what he can do and what he did the year prior when he got time to do it was he was elite out there. He got the balls where you're like, oh, that's a double. That's a double. That's fun, right? Like, or kind of like the one like Marsh today. He probably gets to because he's faster, right? He reads it a little better. But he didn't do that all year. Mm-hmm. And that's like, to you guys' point, like World Series aspirations, you're right. Like, you're not going to come up here and like bat 220 and then not give us what we expect defensively. You're not Whit Merrifield. Like, you haven't played in the big leagues for 8 years, 10 years, whatever it is, right? We're not going to give you that time. That's how I look at it too, right?
No, absolutely. And the other side of it is he was the only one with options. Right, he was the easy one. Everybody else, you legit have to replace. Or release flat out. And I think as we go on talking about the deadline as it comes up, I think we also have to look into what this team has talked about for the last 2 years, right? And that culture and that clubhouse that they have, right? I don't think you're bringing in a guy like an Aroldis Chapman, right? To this type of team, to this type of clubhouse, right? You're not replacing Nick Castellanos mid-season. You know what I mean? Like, that's not happening. It's bonkers, right? But that's not an option. You know what I mean? Like, so there's certain things that I don't think, like Whit Merrifield, could he have been released? Sure. Was it really going to happen? No, right? Like, because the clubhouse right then to them probably is more important than a piece because they believe this is me talking, right? I think they believe internally that they have enough. They just got to add the right mix. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the big mix. It's the right mix for them. And I think that's gonna be their way they're gonna take it going forward.
How about this? How about they don't make any moves? Like, I mean,
they could get away with that without a problem, Tom.
Yeah. Like, there's that side of it too.
There sure is.
It's not like, oh, you have to make a move. Like, come on, this team's second best team in baseball. Like, what do you mean they got to make a move? They've been playing with injuries all year, and they're still the second best team in baseball. They've been without Trey Turner for a significant amount of time.
We can move him to the outfield.
They've been. Oh my God! Don't do that. They Little League.
Little League Greg.
Hey, Little League Greg. Little League Greggy. Oh man. So like there's a lot of things they don't have to do because of the injuries they sustained and been able to still work themselves through it the way they have. So, there's that side of it, right?
I agree. I was also going to say, I think the timing of this kind of works out. The deadline's the end of July, right? And now they're at a time where you call down the center fielder, and right now it kind of feels like they're just testing guys out. Like, we'll give Pache a few runs at it. We'll give Marsh a few runs at it. Do we have to make a move, or is it a case where, you know what, we do have to go all in for the center fielder, forgetting his name, the White Sox? Like, maybe that's something we have to do. Yep. They're testing this all out right now. So the timing of this injury with Trey and moving him down kind of works out perfectly because you can kind of feel these things out right before the deadline.
Yeah, Luke, I think that's a fantastic point. And my gut kind of tells me it's going to be that week coming out of the All-Star break. If they come out of the All-Star break and they still have a, 6, 7, 8 game lead in the division, they may just sit pat and say, you know what, we've got the team to do this, and off they go. If they come out of the All-Star break and that lead in the division is like 3, 4 games, then you may see, that splash move in the outfield.
Yeah, I think Greg nailed it. Like it no matter what it is, it's going to be a fit because they do the one thing they do believe, and this matters in baseball, especially when you have a talented ball club, is what that locker room is. Like that matters more than you could ever try to explain to somebody. It's different. Like when you got talent like that, and you got a bunch of guys that are bought in for the guy next to him too, right? For the guy next to you too, like you get a different way that you go about your business. Like you enjoy coming to play baseball. You should anyway, right? You should anyway, regardless. But there's a different juice to come to the ballpark. To come to the ballpark, not step between the lines, to be in the dugout, to be in the clubhouse, to be on an airplane with guys. Like if you got that synergy and that connection, you could do special things. So I don't see a guy that's going to get that they would bring in that's going to get the mic right in front of his face right away. I don't think they're looking for that guy per se. They would look for like low level pieces that they think can give them a little bit of juice here and there that aren't going to ruffle any feathers because then they won't be here. But I also believe that they think they got the team to do it. So
but I think that's bigger in baseball than any other sport, Tom, that you're talking about, because it's 162. I mean,
you gotta love that guy.
When you're at work 10 hours a day for 162, like you gotta love your coworkers. And like to you guys were talking about Merrifield, like they love that guy in the clubhouse. Like he's just like the consummate professional. And yeah, I mean, his performance on the field right now is iffy, but Tom, Greg, like you guys said, he's the vested veteran and he's got a track record. And, I think they're willing to deal with the low production now because they know that he could flip a switch in September and October and be that guy.
Because he's done that in years past.
Yeah,
like,
he's done it. Exactly.
He's had slow starts, good finishes, fast starts, bad finishes. Like, I mean, most guys do, right? Like most guys that aren't superstars, that's like the difference. Like stars go through it for like a week, right? Yeah. Like good players will go through it for a minute. You know what I mean? They'll be like, he might stink, and then he'll get hot again, right? And then bad hitters are they're bad, right? There's levels to this shit. You know what I mean? There's levels to that. So like when you're talking about a guy like Witt, they believe, now he's not going to get to his numbers now like he would, like they expected, but they still believe he's going to get close to it. Right now, like he's going to have a month where he swings it well for them, and that's how it goes, right? Like you're hoping Nick comes out of it and he has a monster second half that get him to his numbers, right? So you expect it. Schwarber led up, Schwarber did what he's supposed to do. June came knocking, and here's Kyle, right? Here's Babe Ruth, right? Here's the best power hitter of all time in June. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
But like
it truly is incredible.
That's why
Mr. June.
Special. That's why baseball is different and special. Like if you like that weird shit, that's why baseball is special. Like where guys are going to get to their stuff. They're going to do what they do. They're going to have points of time in the year where you're like, oh, I don't like this guy again, swinging.
Well, when you got 7, 8, 9 years experience, man, at that point, the back of the baseball card don't lie.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It does not. And I think that's what most GMs feel, right? Or the good ones. I feel like they feel like that's not going to lie to them. And that's why they run Nick out the way they do, right? Because they know at some point he's going to hit. Like, I say the younger guys, not even younger guys, you say my older groups, right? Like rising juniors. Like I'll say to guys all the time, if you're struggling right now, you hit your whole life. If it's a guy who's hits on, you hit your whole life. You think you just forget how to hit, or you think you're going through something, right? You're going through something. So this is what the adversity hits you now. All right, it hits you now, right? So everybody goes through it. But if you like I just said, if you can't hit, you can't hit. Doesn't mean we can't get you marginally better. Like even at the big league, doesn't mean you can't get marginally better. But if you can't hit, you can't hit. Right? If God bless you with the ability to flat out swing it, you can swing it. This ain't hard. Now you can get a good player to be a damn good player, right? Or a great player. But then how much is that player putting it in when he's not in the dugout or coming to the before he comes to the field, or how early does he get there, right? Like that thing matters, especially even more at that level. right? At the highest level. Like, how much are you willing to outwork the guy next to you? Because you're all gifted. You're all gifted. And then you're going to have the guys that are just grinders regardless. And that's what made them as good as they are, right? Like, so it's all different. You know, you have guys that just woke up and they can flat out swing it.
Manny Ramirez, right?
Yeah, like at 2 years old. At 2 years old, you're just like, oh, all right, this guy's got it. Here we go. Put him on a T-ball team now, right? There's levels to it, right? So, like, I don't. That's why I don't buy in like just bring it back to Rojas, like the like, oh, they had him flat, and it was like flexing, right? And they had like the flex, like first off, how tight are you gripping the bat?
Yeah.
Okay, but two, like, all right, bro, we get it. He put on muscle, like. Cool story. He should be. Like, I don't know why. Like, you expect that's going to translate the guy hitting because he got muscle?
Here's a little cup. Can you pee in that for me, please?
Like, come on, Greg. Mike, you guys been around it. No, you've been around it. Not leaving Luke out in this conversation at all. But like, you guys been around it. You know, like that the muscle mass ain't going to dictate if you can swing it.
Yeah.
There's literally one player in the history of baseball that started swinging it better with muscle mass, and that was Mark McGwire.
And Barry Bonds.
I was going to say Barry Bonds.
But see, Bonds could always hit.
With the help of Balco.
But Bonds could always hit. He just started hitting home runs. Mark McGwire had a season where he batted 205.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Barry Bonds just went to a superhero.
Yeah.
Like Barry Bonds went to unpitchable. Like, we will walk you with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
Like,
Barry Bonds turned into a professional wrestler playing baseball.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But Barry Bonds was the top 5 player of all time pre-steroid. That's the point Mike's making. Like, Barry Bonds, the top 5 player of all time pre-steroid. He just was. That's how good he was. And he just said, oh, you guys, we talk about it all the time back in the day, right, Mike? Like, oh, you guys want to do it? Watch it. That's what it was. Because these guys got egos more than anybody can understand. Like, the egos, when you're that good, go to another level. So when guys that you know you're better than are hitting 60, look at this fun ride. Look at this fun ride. I'm gonna put 70 into the water in the San Francisco Bay. I mean, oh my goodness.
He said, hold my beer, give me that syringe.
Syringe me. Here's 70. Oh my goodness. His head was like 3 times the size. I didn't take anything. What?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. He's not lying.
He went from looking like a punter to looking like a middle linebacker.
But I'm like weird because I never blamed him for it out of all the guys who did it. He was the one guy I was like, well, he was better than those guys. Like, those guys tried to make themselves better by cheating. And he said, oh, no, hold the hell on. We're not doing this tonight. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how it felt, right? I'm not saying he's not wrong. You shouldn't cheat in sports, right? I'll always say that. But at that level, when it was like literally keep up with the Joneses at that time, because that's what it was, and baseball allowed it, that's the point bigger than all of it. Baseball wanted it. They wanted 70 jacks. They said, hey, Barry, we'll supply it, right? Well, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a drop off at his doorstep. Like, take this and it's 70. Yeah, like, we know how this is working.
Oh, remember the Sosa McGwire home run chase in '98? When they're interviewing McGwire. Oh, I wonder what that red can is in McGwire's locker, you know?
Bonds did it last, and he did it bigger and better than everyone else, and it shows in the numbers. And you guys are exactly right. If everyone wasn't doing it, Bonds probably wouldn't have had to do it, but he did, and he did it the best.
Chicks dig the long ball.
He hit everything. Like, his ability, like we always talk about, was the dog days, right? Mm-hmm. Or any hitter, it's like the dog days of summer or whenever it happens to you, right? But when he did it, there wasn't a day where he wasn't a monster. Like, he was a monster for 162 plus postseasons. Like, it was absurd. It was like, this guy's unpitchable in April, May, June, July, August, September, like October. He doesn't have a time off. It was ridiculous.
And you know what's insane about him too is he never played in a home ballpark that was considered a hitter's park.
No, quite the opposite. He made it look like you could hit there.
Yeah. I mean, between Three Rivers, Candlestick, and then whatever that stadium is named in San Francisco now, I mean, they just, none of them were hitters' parks. And he made him look small.
Yeah, he made that one look that he made the San Francisco, which nobody really hits like that there. Right. He made it look like that was Coors Field.
It was easy. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, this is a place to hit at. Like, thump it in the water, guys. It's easy. It's a layup line. Like, that's what he made it look like. And then we go play there and we're like, holy crap.
Why can't we hit anything?
Like, that's hard to hit there. Like, and you look at their numbers, like, even when they were really good, right? Even when they're really good, they did it a lot with pitching. They had great pitching. Like, they did it a different way. They played to their part. Not sure where we went with all this. So hit the like, subscribe, follow, join our Phillies conversation. We'll make sure we get our time with basketball in for Luke. It's important to him. Paul George coming to Philly.
Get your jerseys ready.
Get them ready.
Yep.
Actually, it's funny that you said that because I wanted to say something to Luke and it was just cracking me up. Like, was it a couple weeks ago when I posed the question to you, is there any way Joe Mazzulla is going to outcoach Jason Kidd? And we all just thought there was no possible way. And now look where we're at.
Yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, not only Greg Popovich would have won him more than one game in that series, but that was just misjudgment on my part.
No, I'm not calling you on the carpet. I mean, I don't think you bashed Mazzulla at all. I just think that series just went complete opposite of what we all thought.
Yeah, they just didn't play a close game. That's what we said. We said all they have to do is not get blown out. If you give those two guys a chance to close a close game, they're always going to have a shot. And I'll take them in a close game over Tatum and Brown all day. The problem is they didn't keep any game close.
They got their doors blown off.
That was the problem. So, yeah.
I'll put Jaylen Brown with all of them, but I hear you. I think they're all really good closers, and I think that's why they're where they're at. And to your point, though, the fact that nothing was close, we couldn't decide who were the better closers.
Yep.
So it's real simple. But I got to give them. I'll give roses where they're due, right? Like they did a great job of that all postseason too. They were best team in basketball all year. As much as they had a layup line to the finals, per se, that was unfinished business for that group. And, not that I like to see it happen, but, for something that, organizationally they've been striving for a minute and been knocking on the door of it, good for them. We won't give a shit if we go win one. So that's our job. Our job is how can we be better than them?
And to that point,
how can we sit at home and watch that happen and not have a sense of urgency to see, like, how can we be better than that? I'm sure 70 million.
Right. And to that point, I was just going to say what they did was what took them over the hump was they added Porzingis and Holiday. It's no secret at all. But they could afford to do that this last summer through tradable contracts. They traded Marcus Smart, who had value as a tradable contract. They had money and they had picks. We have the ability where we have, again, this is where delusion, 100%. I get it. I'm an idiot. We have no shot. I'm just set up for failure. I get it. But at the end of the day, we have 2 all-star and an MVP level player on our team, all the money in the world, tradable contract in Paul Reed, keyest value across the league for some reason, and draft picks. So they have the ability to do the exact same thing that they did. It sounds crazy, but I'm serious. They really do. Even if you bring in Paul George, my fingers are crossed that Alex Caruso will be on the team by next Wednesday, draft night, that they make that deal and overpay to get him. I think he's like a Drew Holiday level role player. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and stretch the floor enough at a high clip. And he's never going to be inefficient to where I feel like, you look at a guy like Matisse Thybulle is in here, defensive ace, couldn't be in the court in the playoffs. Same with Ben Simmons because he was such a liability offensively. He's not giving you that. Alex Caruso is very playable in the offensive end, stretches the floor, secondary ball handler, all those things. Overpay for him. Do it. You need to do it. Draft day.
So, Luke, I don't think your idea is all that far-fetched. Like, you made 3 incredible points there when you talk about the 2, all-star MVP caliber players, the money, the tradable contracts. You make 3 phenomenal points. I think the big question is, do we trust this front office to actually make those moves?
No, that's where the delusion comes in. But what I'm basically just saying is that the opportunity is there.
Right. No, you're spot on.
Yeah.
You're absolutely spot on. It's just, it's one of those things where, we got Hinkie and we thought we were set in the front office, and that didn't work. And then Colangelo came in and we thought, oh, well, maybe this will be an improvement. There you go, Greg. And Colangelo was a disaster. And, now we got Morey, and I don't dislike Morey, but as this thing gets further along, I trust him a lot less than I did 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I'll go different than you guys on trusting him. Like, I'll say I do, just because we really haven't seen the ability like this, right? So it's like it's a little bit of an unknown. But I thought, like I said in other shows, like I thought he did it good when the Danny Green year, when he went out and got Danny Green and Seth Curry, right? Like, I thought they were good moves that he added on to this basketball team. Like, so there's been moments I thought he did a great job. Obviously, when he traded Harden and what he got back wise to make his team deeper, right? Like I feel like he's done those things. He got bit by injury a little bit with that one because we never got to see Rocco and some of the things that we thought maybe could have made us better. Not saying Rocco makes shit NBA. You got what I'm saying though. And then
right.
we traded Marcus
Morris,
Marcus Morris. So like we just didn't see that come to fruition. So I think he does I want to say he does a good job because he traded stuff to like set us up for this summer in a big way. Now is that
right.
just to go all in? That's the question. Like,
well, Tommy, I think he does a good job at making individual trades in a vacuum.
Okay,
but but putting it together, like you guys were saying, this summer, he's got the draft picks, he's got the money. Can he put it all together?
I'll just say this real quick before someone else goes to Steven's comment. If you want to compare yourself going into the summer and say, how are we going to beat Boston's starting 5? That is impossible, and it's not going to happen from a talent perspective. So if you want to be that ticky-tacky and who you want to bring in here, it's just not going to work. You're not going to get 5 guys that are better than their 5 guys. What you need to do is you need to look at what you have and the assets you have in money and draft picks and all those kinds of things. What is the route and the way that brings in the most good players here possible?
It's all about
that's
matchup.
It.
It's all about matchup.
So Caruso's a guy.
Yeah.
Caruso is not Drew Holiday. I'm not saying he is Drew Holiday, and if you think that, you're an idiot. What I am saying is that in a playoffs, he's a very impactful player. You're not getting a perfect all-star player all on the court like they have. You're not getting Derek White and Drew Holiday and Paul George this summer. That's not going to happen. What you can do is you can get Paul George and you can get valuable, playable playoff players around him. Caruso is that without a doubt.
Batum, Oubre. There's a way to probably make it all work, possibly.
I hate to say this though. I think fit-wise, if Paul George is the guy, and it's seeming more likely as days goes on that he is, I don't think that Oubre is going to be their top target to bring back here because of how much he's going to be asking for.
Well, that goes to Caruso then, right? You're sort of
no. That's just we're going to eat his salary via trade. That's draft night. We're giving you 2 first-round picks. Let's make it done. That's what that is. But then you have, I believe it's a $12 million exception outside of the Paul George contract. That is what Oubre wants. So are you going to want, like I know Greg talks about all the time, and he's right, you need to rebound around Embiid. That's where that money goes to, in my eyes. You need to bring someone in here who's going to crash the glass.
No, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, you need another guy who likes to sniff it out a little bit, for sure. Nah, but I thought Oubre did a good job of that too. To give him some credit on that, I thought he was,
his size, yeah,
for his size for sure. But I agree with you with some more meat and potatoes here, right? As some big guys who can box out and get rebounds and that are hustlers, scrappers. That's sort of what you're looking for outside of Embiid. But I don't, like I said, it's all matchup. So if you told me you had Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Alex Caruso, like, and forget who your fifth guy is, like, well, that's a good start to beating Boston.
Oh my God, that's an
not
A
a bad
plus
start.
offseason. A plus offseason.
Is that a bad start? Like, even if you got those three and we haven't made the other move yet, and we don't know who the other guys are yet, I'll say it again. Like, I'm not falling in love with Paul George. I'm just telling you, everybody out there, like, that's really good if Embiid's healthy. Like,
yeah, dude, the other part of it is I love Boston and their team. Oh, I hate Boston, but their team they put on the court is fantastic. If he's healthy, which again is a massive if, and we're delusional for thinking he ever will be, but if he is, he's the best player on the court. And a lot of times, if you have a good enough cast around him, that's the team that wins.
Usually is, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy that like 2 months ago, there was actually talk that if the Sixers got through that, if they could just get through the first round, if they could somehow just navigate the playoffs and get to the Eastern Conference Finals, they have a shot to beat Boston. And that was real talk. There were people that actually thought Sixers just need to get in and they could beat Boston because they would have the best player on the floor. And Boston just made the entire league look silly.
That's how close I feel like the Sixers are, but that far away.
Yeah.
It's weird,
right?
Because they're so close because if Embiid's playing and he's healthy, he's the best player on the court no matter who he's playing against. But the problem is he hasn't been. Now, I think this year, more importantly on who we go out and get, is more importantly the next step of Tyrese Maxey, right? The next step in his growth, right? Which there's levels to it, right? Like that next step. And I think we're going to get it because we've gotten it every year. So I think he's going to come back with something better in his game. Whatever that he needs to work on, whatever that may be, he's going to come back better than he was last year. And I think that's the biggest conversation of all this. That's why you're close. That's why you're not only looking what you can put around Embiid, but you're also looking what you can put around Tyrese Maxey. So I believe this is closer.
Sky's the limit for Maxey. He's turned himself into a bona fide superstar.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go superstar, but all-star.
I mean, if he takes another leap, he is superstar.
Yeah. That's why I'm not going there yet.
Yeah.
There's room. Yeah. There's room for growth here. I don't think he's a superstar yet, but he's an all-star caliber player, right?
Yeah, and he gives me no reason to believe that he won't get better either. He's gotten better every year. He's only 23, so he's going to get better. And he's not one that, he's not sitting on his ass this summer. He's working. To this comment real quick, I just want to say, if you're comparing OG Anunoby to Caruso, I'm with you. But OG Anunoby is going to be paid more than twice as much as Caruso. And you can pay Caruso because all you have to do is trade for him. He's making like around $15 million. So I think even less than that. So you can definitely afford Paul George and Caruso without a doubt.
Yeah, I don't know what other options are out there outside of George at this point.
Well, I think he's a bona fide lock, especially his podcast coming out today and all the stuff he was saying about how he's talking about how he wants to play in the right fit of basketball, and it's all about the style of basketball he wants to play. You can interpret that however you want. For me, that doesn't sound like a guy who's happy about the team he's playing on. So
Luke, I'm glad you brought up his podcast because I wanted to ask you about a quote that I saw on the podcast or saw that was attributed to the podcast where he said something to the effect of the destination is important and don't think guys around the league don't talk.
Right.
So if guys around the league are talking, what are they saying about Philadelphia? Because we know when it's, when you're talking about the Phillies, it's a phenomenal place to play. When you're talking about the Eagles, it's a phenomenal place to play. Talking about the Flyers, this new front office really has their shit together. Yep. But what are players around the league saying about the Sixers?
Well, to me, that depends on who he's talking to. Because if he's talking to James Harden, which is very likely because he's a teammate, I'll say that I think and I hope his agent and Morey, when eventually they get down negotiation, they have a conversation like this. His situation is completely different than James Harden because what James Harden wanted was an extension, and we're giving Paul George a max. So for James Harden's reasons for not wanting to be here, completely do not apply to Paul George. I'll just say that. The other thing is that if he's hearing things from Embiid, which is also very possible because he goes to the finals and he went on that pregame set with him, that is a good thing if you want Paul George to be here. So I think that could be taken in a whole bunch of different ways. I don't really know. But what I did like hearing was him saying, it's about fit for me. I want to play the right style of basketball. And again, that does not sound like a guy who's happy about the style of basketball that his team is playing with, especially when he talked about how great it was playing with Rocco and Batum and all these other guys, how much he missed them, and where are they? Right here, or they should be.
Is Rocco still here?
No, but I'm just
Okay.
But Batum is probably going to come back. If not, he's going to retire.
Well, Rocco might be a name they bring back too.
Just maybe minimum.
Really low risk, or can bring you some value, right? Some value throughout a long 82-game season.
That veteran leadership.
Yeah, just in-house, especially if he likes playing with those guys. And I'll say this, like if he's talking about fit, like I think Nick Nurse style of basketball is the style of basketball guys would want to play. So, I like their sets. I like the stuff they run. I think they're really about ball movement. So that's a shooter's paradise. If you're all about like working inside out and running stuff through your big man and getting guys looks, like that would be an offensive on Paul George. Like fit wise, I'm dying to play it. Like you're telling me they can't double me ever? Like, like even when he played with those other guys, like they don't get doubled. Like people aren't trying to take the ball out of Harden's hands anymore. Right? Kawhi, yeah, sure. I'm sure there's times, but not like Embiid doubles. Like there's a different level to doubles too. Like some teams will run it and beat all day. Well, now, listen, it just opens up so much. It just opens up so much. So if we talk about fit, I would think this would be a great fit for any player that with his skill.
Yeah, we've also talked about in the past fitting personalities, and that's a quote that I love to hear in terms of bringing in a personality and a talent, an all-star. He's had all that experience. He knows coming into this, he's the third guy, and it sounds like at this stage of his career, he kind of wants to be the third guy. That's what I would say in recruiting him here too, is you can stay in LA and be the second guy, and when Kawhi gets hurt, it's your name being all over Twitter and all over ESPN and TNT, getting bashed for not showing up. When if you come here, you'll be asked to shoot the ball in the playoffs maybe 10 to 12 times a game. And, they're off of rotations or whatever, and you get to run our second unit and things like that. You're our third guy, and you're going to be making max money doing it.
Yeah, low iffy sales pitch. Like, don't worry about not showing up. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fun sales pitch. Like, hey, buddy, don't.
Well, that's what he's coming out publicly and being like, I'm tired of it. He said that publicly. So I'll answer that question for him right off rip.
No, it's great. It's great. Like, hey, buddy, you can sit some out here.
Yeah, totally.
One of the toughest media markets in the country. Hey, buddy, you can sit a couple out here and there.
Yeah, you can make max money, but don't worry if you go. If you see what to buy. Yeah, if you see Tobias Harris.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, don't listen to my.
The media hated Toby. That's not real.
None of it's true. Oh man.
To all the draft nerds out there, though, if we do keep it, which I don't think there's any shot of that happening, Tristan Da Silva, I've done my homework. He's my
kid from Colorado.
He's my A1 prospect. He's like 6'9", shoots threes. Yep. Typically, that translates. I like that.
Usually does.
Yeah, can never have enough of those guys, right?
Nope. But there's no shot they keep it, though. No shot they keep it.
Someone's AC kicked on.
That was mine. Sorry about that. Little warm, you know what I'm saying?
I hear it.
A little hot in here.
Going back to to trusting Morey, though, while he's done well here, I know I mentioned this on a couple of shows, a while back. When Morey was at his best was when he was able to be flexible, right? And he's had stuff to do, right? He's had stuff to play with. right? And that's what made Hinkie so appealing to us, is he came from the Morey tree, where they kind of made chicken salad out of chicken shit, right? You know what I mean? But to all your guys' credit too, early on when he got here, his hands were tied a lot, right? You know what I mean? Like, Tommy, you brought up the Danny Green deal. Yeah, to be able to flip Al Horford at that time for a Danny Green, was probably the best deal he probably has made here, because he was able to maneuver and mess around. So yeah, while some of his moves might not be earth shattering, right, and obviously we've been sitting at home for 2 rounds, right? So how good have they been? When he's been at his best is when he's had the ability to be flexible and to maneuver around with what he now has, with all the picks, the cap space, the roster space, and stuff like that, right? So do I fully trust him? No, but when he's been at his best is when in a situation like this where he's been able to be like carte blanche, let me do what I do.
I'll kind of backtrack on that too. I agree with you 100%. The only thing I think that he might not get enough blame for is, you look at salary cap in today's NBA, it's so strict and it's hard to win with a guy who's making $40 million who isn't giving you anything. I would have been totally okay with giving up a first-round pick to get off of Tobias' contracts a long time ago. And that's the one thing that he didn't do. And I completely understand everyone saying Embiid doesn't show up in the playoffs and he's hurt. And the countless amount of reasons they've lost in the playoffs and upset everybody. Same time, I will say it is really, really hard in today's NBA to win in the playoffs and be successful with a guy making $40 million a year who's giving what Tobias is giving. It is extremely, extremely hard. So I would have liked him to maybe gotten off of that contract a little earlier, maybe expand the window a little bit. Maybe you have money even earlier. Who knows? But I do agree with you to that point, definitely.
Yeah, could you imagine if he was able to get out from that? Like, kind of like what he did with Horford, right?
I mean,
if he was able to find the taker for that,
I think there's definitely takers for that because there's expiring contracts all around the league, and teams want first-round picks, especially the bad teams like Detroit or maybe Washington or teams like that would take it on. And hey, they're not trying to be the worst teams in the NBA because there's yet no credit for them. Detroit, look at them; they've been the worst team the last few years. They have the number 5 pick back-to-back years. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think they would be open to taking a guy like that. And I fully expect Tobias Harris to be a Piston by the end of July. 100%. I see that.
Well, Detroit must feel like the Sixers did for so long, right? Like, you're a worst team in basketball, but the NBA just rigs it to where they don't get the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. I mean, they're getting debatably. They could be said they're getting rigged a little bit harder than us, just because at least we had the shots in the lottery. We just missed. They don't even let them to take them. It's crazy.
But we only got the number 1 pick though, and when the NBA plant Colangelo took over.
Right.
That's the only time we got awarded with the number 1 pick.
Well, he also traded up for that pick too. Let's not forget. He wanted Fultz. He traded a pick to
to Simmons.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, that was the first year that the
forget.
NBA planted a GM in our front office.
Yeah, I thought Magic Johnson was coming home.
But yeah, and Tobias could wind up in Detroit, and Detroit fires their head coach after a year.
What is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, he gets a record contract for a head coach, and they
6 years.
Yeah, they kill it after 1 year. That's crazy.
My Lord. No wonder they're the worst team in basketball.
Like who in their front office did he piss off?
Well, I guess what it is Trajan Langdon took over as GM, and he wants his guy in there.
Guy.
That's the problem, right?
There's only so many good coaches in the NBA. Like, it's just a recycle of terrible coaches.
So the problem is that they went the opposite route. They hired the coach first and like, oh, we don't like our GM. And obviously the GM is going to say, I want my own guy.
Yeah.
Because it's your reputation that's on the line. So why wouldn't they all of a sudden, now you need a president of basketball operations. You didn't need him before you handed out the richest contract in the history of the coach. I mean, that's where they messed up. What the hell are they doing? I don't really blame them for firing him. But if you're going to make this bold move and give a guy $70 million as a coach, maybe you should think about bringing in a president of basketball operations a year before you do it.
At that point, yeah.
So, and
I wonder,
so,
is he still getting paid by Phoenix too? Because
I
he's
think
got to
there
be
might
still getting
be.
paid by Phoenix.
I don't know what the rule is in the NBA. I believe in the NFL, right? Don't you not get paid if you get hired somewhere else? I don't know how that works in the NBA.
Would have been nice if those next time.
that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened.
That's actually a great question, Luke. I know there are rules to where you can get paid for a certain amount of time, and then if you get another job, the previous team is off the hook for that. But not entirely sure how it works with NBA coaches. But Greg, to your point, Trajan Langdon, where did he go to school?
Duke.
And who is the hot name on the coaching carousel right now?
I don't know.
JJ Redick.
JJ Redick.
Oh yeah. I don't think. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's interesting.
I just don't know if they'll have the money to bring him in there.
And would JJ want to pop his cherry with the Pistons?
Low expectations.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll make the point right now. I think you're better off taking a job in Charlotte and Detroit than you are in LA, easily.
Oh,
Yep.
Job
Absolutely.
especially as
there.
a first-time head coach, without a doubt. In
I don't
today's
disagree
NBA.
there one bit, but it's still Detroit.
Yeah, I get it.
Still Detroit.
But Detroit's been known to have really good basketball, right? They've been known to have, they've had teams that have won. So it's not like it's gone to the wayside for a while here. Haven't been good in a while, but it's not like it's not a place that's like a bad time. Yeah, like a bad time to win it. Like it's not Charlotte. You know what I mean? Right? It's not Charlotte. Like, they haven't won when. So it's a little better, I guess, allure to go there than it is like some other small market places per se. I don't know. That's a great name though. I didn't think about that.
I didn't tie the two together either.
The Dookie connection.
I like
Hey.
it.
Dookie.
Hey, you guys mind eating 70 million? Thanks.
Hey, forget about it.
You want to fucking hire me? This is what you got to do. You know what I mean? I like that. Put your what's on the table. Let it be known, Trajan. All right. Anything else, boys?
No.
Nah, go Phils.
No. Yeah.
Caruso time.
Let's
ride.
sweep the Diamondbacks.
No, that was got to need to sweep.
No, it just wants to sweep everything.
It's sweeping up.
Yeah, why not?
Just
Not
just
for
give,
nothing.
just give me 2 out of 3 for the rest of the season. I'm fine. I don't need sweeps.
Yeah, I'll sleep good with that.
Not for nothing, but Noah's bold prediction of Christopher Sanchez getting 75 wins might actually come to fruition.
It's amazing.
It's truly incredible.
I think he's
Again,
having a good year.
He really is.
Yeah, I think by the end of it.
What did I
top
say?
5.
He had 15.
Yep.
15 or
I
17,
think I
something
said
right around that
15.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think you said like he's gonna be top 5 in Cy Young. You know what I mean? Like I feel like by the end of the conversation, he was top 5 Cy Young vote. It's awesome.
Love it.
All right, boys. Great
Good
show.
ball,
Like always. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow. It's been HUD Wednesday nights, brought to you by Bajier's Bread, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Go check them out. For Mike Mataraki, Noah Eaton, Luke Brown, Greg Mwaglik, I'm Tom Arnone. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you next Wednesday. Go Phils.